Welcome back to the Space Miata channel. Glad you tuned in. So today we're going to go over stainless steel brake lines. So for the Miata, I've ordered a few parts from Fab9 Tuning, Jegs, For Lifetime brake lines, Amazon, Downstar hardware, and some eBay parts. So let's stop talking and let's get to the Miata. So what I went ahead and did is 3D printed my bolt locations in plastic and then took it to the shop here and drilled them out with a 5/16 drill bit, cut it to size, rounded off the edges, and now what I need to do is to allow these beautiful countersink bolts to get sunk into that with countersink tap. What I've already went ahead and did is I've already installed one brake delete kit in here. This is the Fab9 brake booster delete kit. I really like how it turned out. Uses a Willwood master cylinder to replace the original brake booster. What we're going to do today, though, after we've drilled out those holes, is now insert it in so we can add another Willwood brake master cylinder. This one will be used actually for the clutch lines, being that I'm OCD and like everything to match. So we'll go ahead and we'll install that here. I'm going to go ahead and jump onto the back side over here now, and we'll get the nuts installed. I don't know how well you can see that, but we're going to go ahead and install that nut right there. Just go ahead and get this on for you real quick. And there's another one on this opposite side right over here. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and install these Willwood brake master cylinders. So currently sanding down to get ready to polish this one, as well as a brand new one. Yes, I know it's atrocity, but I just like them polished instead. So let's go ahead and install our big one. And this is Downstar's hardware. I absolutely love it. Look at that, beautiful. So now I just got done tightening those up. I'm going to run the brake lines. I know that I'll have to take these back off later to polish them, but for now I need to get the measurement of the brake line set up. So I'm going to go ahead and do is go ahead and get the brake line bulkhead put in. Shout out to Downstar. A lot of my hardware is all from them. This bulkhead fitting is from Jegs, Downstar nut. Let's go ahead and install it. So now that the bulkhead fittings and nuts are in place, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get some TIG filler wire. Doesn't matter really what size, probably the smaller the better. This is 1/16, I believe. Don't quote me on that. So what we're going to go ahead and do is get a bend in our first section. And we're going to take a little tubing bender we got here from eBay. Cheap, easy, works great. If you don't have filler wire, coat hangers work just as well. Just it's difficult to get them straight. Any cheap metal that you can use to get your accurate dimensions, that's probably the best bet that you wanted to go with. So now that I've bent my 90, I'm able to easily slide it in side my brake line fitting, and then I can lay it across and get pretty close to where I need to put that 90 needs to be right here. So the center of my bend needs to be right there on the mark there. So we'll go ahead and we'll mark that, and we'll put a bend in there, and we'll come right back. And just like that, we go ahead and slide it back in, and we'll have our measurements for our brake line. Look at that. Perfect. We'll go ahead and repeat this on the other side. We can finish up the clutch cylinder. So being that I only have to make a 90-degree bend for the clutch cylinder, I'll probably just bend this about halfway, put it right here, find out where it is, and then I'll just go ahead and use my wire cutters and snip off the end, being that it's very thin. So what we have here is a tubing nut and a tubing sleeve. We want to put our nut before the sleeve. It only works one way. So put our nut, put our sleeve, and we'll grab our flaring tool. We'll choose our 3/16 flare. Bring it flush to the top, just flush. If you would like it a little raised, that's fine. I just prefer to have it flush. Take our lamp, have the slide up from the bottom. Select the die. And there you go. We now have a stainless steel line with a flare and a nut. Ready to go. Now that we have our brake line flared, we're going to go ahead and slide back our tube nut and sleeve. And we're going to lay this on top of there, right at the end of the flare. And we're going to mark the center of the bend. Before we put on our bender, we'll slide our tubing nut back on, our tubing sleeve, and our tubing nut back on. Get them all completely set. Bring our tubing bender. Let's put our mark right there. Set it in. And what I usually like to do is put it right in the middle, right here. And we'll begin the flare. Oh, almost right there. And we'll begin the flare right there, or the bend. Stainless steel is a little bit tougher, so we have to go a little bit past 90 to get our proper degree. And there we go. Now we need to, you can always unbend it just a little bit to get that proper 90. And we'll go ahead and we'll keep bending the rest of the bends in. Now that the brake line is completely done, we'll go ahead and install and see how it looks. And I think that'll make a great addition to the new brake lines. So what I'll do is probably bend a 90, bring it down, come across, and then this one will bring across and down a 90 as well, underneath the steering column, behind the gas pedal, through the firewall, and then into the transmission tunnel for the wiring harness, and brake lines and clutch lines will be in this oval shape here. So the stainless steel brake lines and clutch lines have been ran. Had to go behind the foot pedal assembly. This one over here is the clutch line. I might run a braided stainless steel line later, or just a male to male union. Still have to decide that, but for now we'll leave that as done. On the brake lines, this one will go to the front left and this one will go to the front right, being that I have a master cylinder for the rear brakes and a separate one for the front. So we'll go ahead and run those lines. I was actually able to hook up the front right side. Still have to do the front left side, but the brake lines are all ran. Nice bends. Really liking how that area turned out over there. Keeps it well out of the clutch pedals and easy to access later. So that was stainless steel brake lines and clutch lines. Hopefully you guys were able to learn some stuff and use it in your build as well. I know I wasn't able to complete the other half of the brake line assembly, but you have a general idea of exactly what's going on. In next Saturday's video, we're going to be removing the windshield and cutting out dimple plates and removing the old roll cage that was installed in the Miata and putting in a new one. See you next Saturday.